Dans mes recherches, tout m'a systématiquement ramené au nazisme et à la société de Thulé avec sa magie sexuelle, utilisant des rituels magiques occultes sataniques avec des viols et des meurtres sur enfants pour conditionner la population. Chez nous en France, Don Desbamos et Alexandre Le Breton font par exemple un travail remarquable pour faire connaître tout cela. J'ai lu dans l'un de vos ouvrages, Les liens étroits, que Kinsey entretenait avec un nazi pédocriminel, mais nous pourrions aussi parler des thèses eugénistes de Margaret Sanger, la créatrice du planning familial international. Bref, c'est un étrange point d'origine qui revient beaucoup sur ces droits sexuels. Que pensez-vous de tout cela?
Well, I'm not sure I understand the question. Margaret Sanger, yes, was, well, she was a eugenicist, yeah. She wanted to get rid of blacks, yeah, or have them as nice controlled servants, I suppose, you know, to do some jobs. And Jews, yeah, I'm sure, and Irish, yeah, whoever. And so I thought Sanger was Irish. That's interesting. So anyway, so there's that aspect, but and I'm not familiar enough with what you guys have in France in terms of the what you were saying. I don't know these people, those authors. Was they authors or?
Yes, Don Desbamos is a website, and Alexandre Le Breton is also an author and researcher about MK Ultra and mind control programs and so forth, and pedophilia, and you know he wrote a few books. We're not so many in France, so that's why we mention them. You know, what Ariane wanted to point towards was the the sexual magic of the Thule secret society among the Nazis. You know.
Oh, I'm not good. I'm not up on that enough to answer properly. I've read about the Thule Society, Madame Blavatsky, and you know, and I'm familiar with the connection possibly to
Aleister Crowley, probably.
Of course, Aleister Crowley, yeah, and now to the Pizzagate, you know, phenomenon. But I'm not familiar enough to speak to that really well, you know, except to say, yeah, all this was going on, you know. Yeah.
Yes, there was some close connections, yeah, between.
Peut-être la question c'est justement qu'elle nous parle un peu plus des liens entre Kinsey et le pédocriminel nazi, sa correspondance, et peut-être l'admiration que Kinsey avait pour Crowley.
Oh, yeah. Well, Kinsey never left the United States. Well, he went to Mexico, I think, a little bit, but he did not travel outside of the country until just shortly before he died. And he went to one of the, I think anyway, there were two important places he wanted to go. First, he wanted to go to Aleister Crowley's abbey in Sicily, but actually, I think he was looking for letters. Yeah, I don't think Kinsey was interested in much unless it had some relevance to himself. So he was looking for letters, which was something that was common to him. He did that with his boyfriend, this young boy that he was enamored of, who died, and who he quickly rushed when he died to his offices to try to find letters that would implicate him in various ways. We don't know what ways, but anyway, you know, something was going on. Now he went to Italy. First, he went to England to see if he could get Aleister Crowley's letters in the museum, in the archives in England. But apparently, he couldn't get them in the archives. So then he went to Italy, to the Abbey, to try and get his letters. I say to try to get letters to see if there was any written correspondence. Now, I suspect there was written correspondence, because there was written correspondence between Kinsey and René Guillon, who is the French pedophile, who was a member of the court in, I think it was Thailand, yeah, or Philippines. And he was French, and he had been he had written a book, about sex with children and various other things, just generally have a good time, you know, sex. And actually, Guillon, I suspect, wrote a lot of the legal opinions that Kinsey was using in Kinsey's own book that he did not attribute to Guillon. But anyway, so Guillon, you know, and he were close correspondents. I can't get more than what is obvious in his paper, in his books. I suspect there would be more in the archives at the Kinsey Institute, but I'm not let into the archives at the Kinsey Institute. And so I think also certainly he would have been corresponding with Crawley. And I'm sure that part of the issue was to try and get any letters that compromised him.
And also he was corresponding with the famous Gestapo Nazi sex expert and pedophile collaborator, Dr. Fritz von Balusek. You've heard about that?
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, listen, heard about it. Are you kidding?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. So, yeah, basically it was very tied into the Nazi.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. There's a wonderful video on that. I don't know if you've seen it. You know, it was produced by Tim Tate, a British video, which Tim Tate called me one day when he was making the video, and he said, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "No, you've got to sit down, Judith. This is going to amaze you." So what? So he said, yeah, that they had found Fritz von Baluchek, Herr Dr. Fritz von Baluchek, and he was a pedophile, not a pederast, I don't think, but a pedophile. He had raped any number of children, and he was in charge of a Polish compound during the war, in which there were Jewish children. I think it was just Jewish children. I'm not sure. It might have been also non-Jewish. Well, anyway, and he was enforcing his sexual desires on these kids. And one of the newspapers quoted him as having told the kids, you know, it's either the smokestacks or it's me. And so they would have sex with him, but it all went up in the smoke. They all were killed anyway. And yes, he was, they wouldn't let, I went to Germany to try to get the papers. Oh, it was a whole actual craziness. What they put up to not let me have the papers. We sent people, German scientists, they wouldn't let them have the papers, von Baluchek's papers. Then they insisted you had to be there. Anyway, so I went to Germany, but I was not allowed to see any of the papers.
Thank you, Judith. I have a question before the final questions by
Did that answer the question?
Yes, totally. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.